All right, let's put a front wheel on a Ducati 959 course. This ought to be really fun. If you like watching this video, please hit the subscribe button. So we just cleaned off the front axle. Now we're cleaning off the right spacer. We're going to add us a little bit of grease to both, but we want to make sure everything is clean before we start putting it together. So I'm using Lubrimatic marine grease. Remember that you don't need to have high performance grease on your front axle or on the spacers. What you do need is a good grease that holds up and repels water and moisture. So that's why we're using Lubrimatic marine grease, because it's just going to make sure that the bike can come apart easier next time. So here we are, just slathering on. We want a light coat of grease on the axle. The reason for this is to allow the axle to slide out when we replace the wheels in another 1,000 miles, when these tires are worn out. This bike is actually extremely easy to put back together. Ducati did something right with this bike. The rotors actually stick out farther from the wheels than most motorcycles, so the calipers are very easy to get on. So I just lined up the front wheel, slid the axle through, and here's the axle nut going on. So right now we just want to go like somewhat tight. We want the axle to get seated into the right fork, but we're not going to torque it down just yet. So we're going to put our left caliper on. So you see how easy this caliper goes on? This is nice. With this bike, it would be almost impossible for you to scratch the paint installing the caliper. If you're touching the wheel with the caliper on this bike, you don't deserve to own a motorcycle, especially a Ducati. So just pack it up and take it back to the dealership. These calipers couldn't be any easier to get on or off. So once we get these caliper bolts in, we're going to torque them down. The torque pound for these is, yeah, I'm not going to tell you. You need to look that up. I don't give out torque specs in my videos. I do appreciate you watching though, but I don't give out torque specs. It will be in your manual, and you can Google it and find it online, but you won't find it in this video. Anyway, we're putting on the right side now. I do like a new bike. This bike has 1,600 miles on it. The Pirellis were completely destroyed, so now we're putting some Bridgestone RS10s on the front and Bridgestone S22 on the rear. Again, always make sure that you use a torque wrench when doing these. I've had bikes come through here that spent their whole life being worked on by someone who doesn't have a torque wrench, and I've seen these caliper bolts stretched out. I've seen the pinch bolts in the forks broken off. So one thing I've learned is if you spin the wheel and grab the brakes at the same time, it'll eliminate some of the resistance of the brake pads dragging on the rotors. Just a little tip for you. As long as the pads aren't dragging, your bike will go faster. Now on the right side, I'm going to torque down the pinch bolts on the bottom of the forks, and then I'm going to go over to the left side and torque down the axle nut. So when you're doing these, you want to do each bolt 3 times. So you'll do your outer bolt once, and then you'll torque down your inner bolt. Then you'll do your outer bolt. You'll see that it still turns a little bit before it clicks. And then do your inner bolt. It's going to turn a little bit before it clicks. Your outer bolt should be good now, and your inner bolt should be good now. So that's just a little safety step. This isn't my bike. This is a friend's bike. So I don't want my friend to die because I screwed something up. So I try to do it right the first time. So we're going to do the same thing over on the left side. Easy enough. Torque down one side. When it clicks, move to the other one. Clicks, move back inside. Clicks, clicks, click, click, and you're all done. So I've already pumped up the brakes, but if you didn't do that step of spinning the wheel and pumping the brakes, make sure to always pump the brakes before you send the bike out. So there you go. Here's a Ducati 959. All these bugs you see on the front, this is as clean as that bike will ever be. Thanks for watching.